What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte. And today we're going to be talking about two hidden gem zip codes according to Open Door. Now, in my opinion, a hidden gem is an area that's essentially not well known about, and we have a ton here in Charlotte. There's some houses that pop up that I know that are in these kind of hidden gem neighborhoods that have been sat on the market for such a long time. And I always think to myself, why in the world did this house not sell yet? I know the neighborhood is amazing, but the reason is people that don't know the areas, that don't know the neighborhoods, they don't know how nice the neighborhood actually is. So the house essentially doesn't get the exposure that it's supposed to get. Now, it's interesting because these hidden gems are zip codes. In my opinion, it's really hard to find a hidden gem zip code just because zip codes are usually so big and so broad. So it's a lot easier to find a neighborhood like Cedarfield, for example, that's in Huntersville, that's a hidden gem neighborhood. We have roads here in Charlotte, like Sardis View Lane, that in my opinion is an absolute hidden gem. You won't really know about it or see how nice it is until you actually go visit and see the neighborhood and or street or area in person. Now on that note, let's get into it. And as always, if there's any questions about areas, zip codes, neighborhoods, or if there's anything I could ever help you with, you can always call, text, or email me anytime. All my contact information is right here, and it's also linked down below. So the interesting thing about the first zip code and or area that we have on this list, this isn't just, named a hidden gem by Open Door in the Charlotte area. This is a hidden gem named in the entire United States. So across the entire US, Open Door named Cheryl's Ford, zip code 28673 as a hidden gem. So Cheryl's Ford is located northwest of Lake Norman and northwest of Charlotte. It's right above Denver, next to Mooresville, and right underneath Cornelius. So Cheryl's Ford is located about 45-minute drive to Center City, Uptown Charlotte, and also about a 45-minute drive to the airport. So as Charlotte has been expanding, as we've seen the influx of people moving here, prices obviously are getting higher, so you see a lot more people moving further and further out from the city. So Cheryl's Ford is actually one of those areas where you can still find a new construction house, 3-4 bedroom, 2,000 square feet plus within that $350,000 to $400,000 price range. And it's one of the few areas, and I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the reason this is named a hidden gem. Most of the houses in Cheryl's Ford were built in the late 60s all the way up until new construction houses that you have here now. So in regards to the houses, a single family median price point for Cheryl's Ford is $508,000 as of December 2024. And to be honest with you, I don't kind of agree with the stat because how can the single family home median be $508,000 when, like I just told you, you can find a new construction house for $350,000 to $400,000. But with that being said, I'll post a couple houses here so you can see the new construction that I'm referring to. Now, in regards to the average sales price for single-family homes in Cheryl's Ford, you're looking at about $754,000 for the average as of December 2024. Now, in my opinion, Cheryl's Ford, it's a nice area. It is a more rural area. You have a lot more land. With that, you can get a lot more bang for your buck. You tend to get bigger houses. You can get the new construction houses within a reasonable price point, but you are, further out from the city. It does have a more small town feel, a more rural area feel, and it is not nearly as busy as if you just go southeast to Lake Norman where Cornelius is. Cornelius is honestly a different ball game. If you're looking at $1 million lakefront property in Cheryl's Ford, if you took that same exact house and took it to Cornelius and put it right there on the lake, that $1 million lakefront property is easily $1.5 million plus, and all you are is about a 15 to 20 minute drive south. Now with that, Cornelius is a lot more busy. There's a lot more restaurants, there's a lot more hotels, a lot more apartment condo complexes, and it's a more touristy area. So you have all the areas where you can rent boats. Memorial Day is packed full of people. So typically tourists and things like that, when they're going to the lake, when you're going to Lake Norman, you're looking more on the Cornelius side. That's one of the reasons Sherrills Ford is kind of that hidden gem, because it's more of a small town feel, but you still have that lake access and you still have some really beautiful homes on the lake, or you can have more homes inland if that's something you prefer, or if that's the price range you're kind of wanting to be in. Now, if you look on Airbnb or Vrbo, you're gonna see some amazing lakefront houses for vacation rentals in the Sherrills Ford area. So this is starting to become a lot more touristy and a lot more popular. And if you guys didn't know, the highest performing properties are not beachfront houses, they're not mountain houses, they're actually lakefront properties that are the best performing on Airbnb and Vrbo. People just seem to want to have vacations on lakefront properties instead of the ocean, instead of the mountains, and instead of the city. With Sherrills Ford not being as busy, the good thing about it is you don't have as much traffic. However, Highway 150 is still a nightmare. So if you're in Sherrills Ford and you're trying to get to Denver, which is east, or you're trying to get to 77 or Mooresville on the west, that main road during peak hours definitely gets congested. But all in all, small town feel, less traffic, not as touristy as Cornelius, and honestly, a lot more bang for your buck. Now, our second hidden gem is right here in Charlotte. And yes, out of all of the zip codes in the United States, this one ranked number 2 between the price point of $400,000 to $600,000, and that is 28262, also known as University. So it's University area because of the Charlotte UNCC campus. You're bordering Concord Mills Mall, you're bordering the PNC Music Pavilion, Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you are right in essentially the center of Charlotte. You're looking at about a 20 to 25 minute drive to Center City Uptown Charlotte, and about a 25 to 30 minute drive to the airport. Obviously, this is a relatively big zip code, so it could be shorter or it could be a longer drive depending on exactly where you're located. So this area has seen a big boom because of the real estate prices in the area, because of UNCC Charlotte, and because the light rail extends there. So from University, you can take the light rail to Uptown, you can take it to NODA, and you can take it to South End. So it's a lot more appealing. With the University being in this area, you do have a relatively younger crowd that are moving into the area, but you also have some very well-established neighborhoods that could be a good fit for you. Now, in regards to pricing, the median price point for a single-family home in this area is $375,000, and the average sales price is just over $400,000. A majority of the houses here are built in the 80s and 90s up to about 2010. You do have some new construction, but there's not that many new construction single family homes. There's a lot more new construction townhomes that pop up in the area. And this area over the last 5 years or so has been increasing in investment properties. I've seen a lot of investors going to this area because of, number one, the prices when you're comparing them to other similar areas within Charlotte, and number two, because of the college student population that you have there. So there's a lot of houses that essentially rent per room over here in this area, and you have a ton of shopping, a ton of restaurants, easy highway access, easy airport, uptown access. So location-wise, it's really good. It's a relatively busy location because it's one of the biggest business parks that we have here. So a ton of office space, there's a ton of headquarters and things like that that have specific offices within this area. And in my opinion, I think this area is going to continue to grow. As soon as they put that light rail up there, we already saw a massive uptick inactivity. You're seeing a lot more rental properties. They're building single family communities, townhome communities that are for rent only, and a lot of them are not for sale. But you're still able to find some really nice houses in this area within a good budget. My opinion, I was kind of shocked to see this particular zip code in the hidden gems when compared to all of the zip codes in the United States, with it being in Charlotte. I never really, considered it. Like I said, it's very tough to find a hidden gem zip code just because it's such a broad area. My opinion, there's hidden gem neighborhoods, streets, or little tiny sections of certain areas. But to see this one make the list is very interesting, and I'm very curious to see how it's going to affect more people getting active in the area, how it's going to affect more businesses coming to the area. But all in all, the fact that Sherrills Ford, made the list of all of the zip codes within the United States, not including price point. And then we have the university area between that $400,000 to $600,000 price range. It's really interesting, and it's just another testament to how Charlotte is growing and how it's continuing to grow. It's easy to compare certain areas within other areas of Charlotte, or comparing it to something like South Carolina or Atlanta, for example. But when you're taking into consideration all of the zip codes across the United States, it's a pretty big feat. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Call, text, or email me if there's anything I can ever do for you, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.